Commodore and members of the Baldwin Harbor Yacht Club and officers of the line. I know some of you are standing. If you just put your hands up, I appreciate it. Also at this time, I would like to point out my beautiful daughter, the baby, and my son-in-law. Okay, very special day, Shirley.
Did I ever tell you about the time you fought me over in the Legion?
Thank you. At this table right here, my friends from the American Legion. Thank you. It's been 5 years since Shirley passed. I'm still working on it. I would like to say that I am not a very forgiving person. I'm still trying to get past it. At this point, I would like to turn over to Carol. And please, Carol, stand up.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you all here. I'm so glad so many people could gather with Al and with Eric and Matt and their family and all the family and friends that are here to help them celebrate Shirley's life and to remember her in a special way today at around her 5th anniversary in heaven or wherever you imagine her to be. But I have a feeling that she's here right in this room. So I think that's something that we can all put our stock in today. Because you can feel the spirit of love. And if you've ever loved anyone, you probably know that love never dies. And yes, there's this very famous passage from the scriptures where St. Paul says that in the letter to the Corinthians, when he talks about love, being patient and kind, and he says it never dies. And so whatever way we've experienced that in the last 5 years as we've tried to remember Shirley, to honor her life, even though she is not physically present with us here anymore, whatever you've had to do to go on. Hopefully you've drawn strength from some faith in something bigger than yourselves, some hope that we will all see each other again, and certainly from your love and support of one another, especially for Erica and Matt and the girls and for Al, and for all who love Shirley in a special way. So, I've been asked to be with you today to kind of just leave this little bit of a time together. I had the privilege of being with you, with many of you at Shirley's funeral service and a special service just a week or so before she died. So I feel very much part of all of you too, and I feel very privileged and honored to be here with you today. But all I'd like to do is ask you to be brave, and as the flyer invitation said to us, bring a picture, bring a story, bring some kind of remembrance today that maybe you could share with everyone here. And for those of us who like to sit and kind of cower at a time like this and say, I don't think I can get up there and say anything, well, maybe you could sit where you are and say something. But let's draw strength from each other. Let's draw strength from each other and being together in Shirley's name and to honor her in this special afternoon of remembrance. Okay? I would just like to read a few things that might be helpful to us as we reflect today. And I'll kind of intersperse our remembrances with some of these reflections and poems, and hopefully that'll help us move things along. When you lose someone you love, your life becomes strange. The ground beneath you becomes fragile. Your thoughts make your eyes unsure, and some dead echo drags your voice down. Your words have no confidence. Your heart grows heavy with loss, and through this loss, and though this loss has wounded others too, no one knows what has been taken from you when the silence of absence deepens. There are days when you wake up happy, and again inside, the fullness of life is there, until that moment breaks, and you're thrown back onto the tide of loss. Days when you have your heart back, you're able to function well, and then in the middle of work or an encounter with someone, suddenly with no warning, you're ambushed by grief. And it becomes hard to trust yourself. All you can depend on now is that sorrow will remain faithful to itself more than you. It knows its way and will find the right time to pull and pull the rope of grief until that coiled till of tears has reduced to its last drop. Gradually, you'll learn acquaintance with the invisible form of your loved one. And when the work of grief is done, the wound of loss will heal, and you will have learned to wean your eyes from the gap in the air and be able to enter the heart in your soul where your loved one has awaited your return all the time. And so perhaps we can, as I said before, imagine Shirley here in spirit, in love, and perhaps as you listen to the words of that reflection by John O'Donohue, a famous poet and philosopher, you can try to think back on these 5 years, this journey of grief, which is the hardest work of human life, right? It's nothing harder to do than to try to go on without the one we love. But you've all learned different ways, especially family, friends, close friends, have learned different ways to let Shirley be with you and you be with Shirley in a new way. Life has changed, but not ended. Shirley. Think of her name. Think of her spirit. Her name, I looked it up and it means bright wood, bright meadow. It makes reference to the open space where things can meet and groups and union can be held. Shirley. It's also a common name in Hebrew, in which it means song unto me, or I have a song. How has Shirley's song been playing in your heart these last few years? How has she been speaking to you in song, in memory, and in the love connection that you had while she was still here and since she has left us? Would anyone like to share a remembrance? Who's going to be brave and be the first one? All right.
A note of gratefulness to my dear friend Shirley. I am so grateful for the years we worked together at Mercy Hospital Psychiatric Center, for your help in helping me implement the dance, psychodrama, and group therapy groups. Thank you for all the lunches we had together, laughing, sharing problems, and discussing our cases. Thank you for all the events we attended together and the wonderful dinners we enjoyed. Thank you for the endless talks we had about Erica, David, Anne, our relationships, our hopes, our dreams and difficulties. Thank you for the endless support you gave me when Murray passed away. Thank you for the great time we had together in Greenwich Village, late at night on our girls' night out. Thank you for coming to my wedding to Kenny in 2008 and celebrating with me. You are missed every day, and the photo always stays on my living room shelf. I bought it and it's on the table there. I thank God we ended our long telephone conversations with how much we cared and loved each other. Your adoring friend, Robert.
Thank you so much. Who would like to continue? Hi, my name is Gloria D'Agostino Brown. Shirley and I met when we were 16 years old. We were juniors in high school. She went to Hempstead, I went to Melbourne. But somehow we always managed to find each other, get in trouble together, do different things together that I cannot repeat today. But Shirley was my best friend. We really miss her. She was there for my sons. She stayed with us when Erica was just a nibble. And now she has 2 of her own. So we've been through a lot, and we all miss her. I think of her all the time. I had a dream about Shirley about a couple of months back, and I woke up sweating, saying, "Oh God, is Shirley in the room with me right now?" I was scared, but I knew she was speaking to me out of love. I can't say what the dream was about, because I forgot it as soon as I woke up, but I know I was drenched. We all miss Shirley, my sons, my grandsons. Soon, one day, we'll all meet together in heaven, eventually. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Bobby Montoy. I knew Shirley with my first job at St. Clair's. I was an operating room nurse and she was a recovery room nurse. And we became very close friends, especially when she became pregnant with Erica. And that's when we really became very close. It was just such a thrilling time for her, and I got to live through this wonderful process with her. And her favorite stories were her birth stories with having, I was privileged to be there when she had Erica. And a few days, she spent about 10 days in the apartment with me with the baby. It was so exciting. And having my experience with Shirley, therefore, is my experience with Shirley and the best thing she ever did, which is she always used to say that. The best thing is having her. And it was, and she lived every day for that. And she made me want to be a mother. Because if something could come out so good like Erica, so wonderful, then it's possible, there's a possibility. She taught me kindness and patience. Shirley was very patient. She was very calm. She introduced me to jazz music. When she was pregnant, she said, "Let's go out and relax. Come out with me. I'd like to go out and relax and listen to some live jazz." So we went to Billy Condon's, and I used to tell her, "Is this good for the baby? Is it jazz?" But it turned out it was very good because she's great. And I miss her every day. It would be so wonderful if I could hear her again. But I hear her in my head and in my heart. And when you say to bring something, I think we all have something. It's all here. It's all in our hearts. We have her with us all the time. And I can just call her up. And I can call her up when I see Chloe or Cyan or Erica. and I can call her up when I can hear Erica's voice or I get an email. It's all good. And I'm so privileged, as we all are, to have known Shirley.
Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sun on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift, uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. As you listen to these remembrances, we can certainly see how true that is. And that last story of Shirley giving birth to Erica, I think that's what our relationships are about giving life to each other. So please be brave and continue to share your stories of Shirley today, because they will give life to each other. Everybody will leave here today, maybe still a little sad, maybe some tears still flowing, but you will be uplifted, I promise you, by the stories that you hear and the remembrances that are given. So they are gifts to not just Erica and Matt and Al, they are gifts that you give to all of the people that are here.
I am Gloria Brown's husband, Joseph, and or Joe. And Shirley was a special person, special friend. Shirley, Gloria, and I, we have some really crazy episodes in life, but really beautiful. I can remember going to Newport Jazz Festival, something I've never done, had never done before. And I mean, it was blazing hot out, blazing hot. And there's no shade anywhere. And I said, what am I doing here? And Gloria's on one side, Shirley's on the other. And I said, well, this is why I'm here, you know, to spend time with these beautiful people. The other night Gloria and I watched something, I forget the name of it, but it dealt a lot, or it was specifically about Nina Simone. And that was one of Shirley's favorite jazz artists. And what I remember most about it is there was a song towards the end, I wish I would know what it feels like to be free. So I wish I knew what it would feel like to be free. I also would like to acknowledge Al, because I can't imagine. You're a good man, Al. You know, we don't talk much, but I feel you, as they say. And I know your heart is heavy, because mine is. We lived in Jersey, and Gloria, Shirley used to come out practically every weekend, Erica, and we'd have such great times together. We have 3 sons, and it was all like one big happy family. And one time, I think before you were born, Shirley came out to Jersey, and she got lost, and she ended up somewhere out in the sticks. And she called up, and I said, "Where are you?" She said, "I don't know." I won't use the same language, but she said, I don't know where I'm at. But I said, well, what is the matter? She said, there's this guy, he wants to pump my gas for me, and he likes these red shoes I got on. So I said, I wish I knew where you were so I could get there. So she said, well, so-and-so that, I'm paying for this gas and I'm getting back on the road. But I'll never forget when she got there, she had on this pretty red lipstick, pretty red blouse, and these sparkly red shoes, you know, and it was just, she found her way home. She clicked those heels and she found her way home. But this is really special today. I really find this, it's just sort of like paving the way. Al, like I can't fathom what you feel, how you feel, but somebody's got to be first. And I guess you're our example because you hold it together, and I respect you for it. I really, really do. And so in special thoughts and remembrances of a very, very dear friend, Shirley. Shirley, I gotta tell this too. She would say she was coming, and she would always come. But she'd say 12 or whatever, and 12 meant 12, maybe 12 noon, 12 at night. But one thing you can count on, she was coming. And it taught me how to measure friendship and love, because I don't place a time on my friend. If my friend says they're coming, I just wait until they get there, because that's the love. You know, I don't get upset, but I used to. I used to, because there were some long days. But Shirley was a tremendous friend. She left us great gifts with Erica, Matt, Chloe, Zion, and I'm forever grateful. Thank you.
Wonderful memories. And they give life today, as you said. Not the brave soul.
So I promised myself that I would speak today because I didn't get to speak at the funeral.
We're very close.
Okay. So I'm gonna speak about Mama Shirley more from how I knew her. I knew Erica in high school. So I met Erica on the very first day of high school. So my relationship with Mama Shirley was more the way that a child looks at the parent of their friend. It's a very different relationship than, I think as a peer. Erica in high school, we were both taking French class, and the very first thing that I think I remember or knew of her mom was that she had promised Erica that she would take her to France at the end of the 4 years of taking French class, which my parents didn't promise me. My mom is in the room, so Mom, you got some making up. But I thought that was amazing, that there was this wonderful reward at the end of this journey for her. I didn't tell you how much I wanted to go with you, but that was just one, I think for me, one tidbit of how I viewed her or how I came to view her. She was not exactly a doting mother, because I don't think that Erica was spoiled or grew up in like an overly privileged way, but she rewarded her and she tried to have her experience life as opposed to just kind of learn these things. She wanted her to live it. And the way that I know Mama Shirley now is through the person that Erica is. I've So I have watched you become a wife and a wonderful mother. And I see the patience that she has with her children. I even see the patience that she has with me as a friend, and with all of her friendship. But that's all Mama Shirley, right? And I don't think that I need to have, or needed to have, many, many conversations with your mother to know her as well as I feel like I do through you. And I say this to you a lot, but I really feel that she's still here. I feel her through you all the time. She had a very calm effect. I remember planning Erica's wedding, and I was in school at the time, and I remember at one point being very overwhelmed, and I didn't want to bother you because I'm supposed to be, helping you. So I'm like, I can't bother her. But I remember having a conversation with your mom, and it was so calming. Like after, I was like, well, Mama Shirley said we're gonna get through it, so we just are, and everything was fine. Everything like miraculously was fine. It was a shower, a bachelorette, a beautiful wedding day, and there's just beautiful memories. There's no stress that I remember after that conversation, and that was her.
You could do it.
Hi. Al and my husband have been friends for like over 50 years, and I had the pleasure of meeting Shirley through Billy when Al and her first got into a relationship, and her and I had really bonded, and I can remember I was going through a lot. My mother had diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and I was really struggling with it. And Shirley was such a beautiful person inside and out, and she kept trying to get me to go into Reiki, to involve, to relax. And I can remember the last part of her life, and her and I had gone out shopping, and we went out shopping, and she was very involved at this time in planning her daughter's wedding. And a couple of weeks later, we went out to dinner, Al and my husband and I, and she was a little late getting there, and I kept waiting for her outside, and she came, and this is when she first told me that she was ill, and it kind of like just went right over my head. I just couldn't even think about it because she looked so beautiful, and she was such a beautiful person. I didn't even register with me, to be honest. And I have a hard time dealing with illnesses and being there. But I knew she understood that I struggled with this because she was helping me get through the whole thing with my mom's Alzheimer's. And she was just such a beautiful person, and I love her and I miss her every day. And I can't even believe that it's 5 years. She really touched my life.
What a great support with you.
Sorry. Sorry, I feel unexpectedly emotional. But, I first met Shirley when I was 8 years old. She was the new love of my father's life. And the thing that I remember the most was my mother. Our mother immediately accepted her and loved her just so effortlessly, and talked to us, my brother and I, about this wonderful woman that our father had met, and how she was kind, and she was generous, and she was spiritual. And my mother, who was the most important woman in my life at the time, and still is, but told us to accept her and to be grateful for her and our wayward Papa was a Rolling Stone, Papa's life, right? Because she was going to make his life so much better. And at 8 years old, to hear a woman accept another woman into her children's life, you know, this was no like reality TV stuff. This was like, this woman is amazing, your father loves her, love her. And then the next thing we know, she delivered this beautiful girl to us on the beach. I mean, she didn't deliver her on the beach, but she brought her to us in a bikini leopard baby suit and said, "This is your baby sister." And we were like, "Whoa, thank you." This is a gift. This is a gift. My brother Morgan and I were so enamored with our baby sister and so in love with Shirley. We thought that she was going to save our dad. And we were so grateful to her because, you know, we needed her at the time, and we still do, Ed, right? And this is her legacy. And all of you are her legacy, and thank you. When I was pregnant with my son, who's now 19, Shirley was someone that I turned to a lot to ask about, you know, not only the physical act of giving birth, but the spiritual and emotional act of raising a young man in America, in the world, to be a world thinker, a global leader, to have some consciousness. And she sent me this poem by, at the time, a poet I'd never really heard of. And she started kind of the rest of my, you know, idea of following this doctrine. She wrote to me, "Read this and always remember it when you feel lost." On children. "Your children are not your children," said Khalil Gibran. "Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you, for life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. Your children are living arrows that you've sent forth." And to me, that's kind of stuck with me forever, just as her philosophy of not only how to raise children and how to raise humans, but how to kind of raise yourself, you know? To be independent, but be kind, to be gracious, but be generous, to love unconditionally, to pick up lost souls as you gather, you know, along the way, and to give them just even a moment of your time. I'm happy that my sister and Matt have made such beautiful children who so represent her to me. And yeah, thank you. Thanks for the
You ready now? Who would like to share next? Or just speak? Sometimes the word share is very scary to people. Anybody else?
Hi, I'm Al's brother-in-law. And Carol was saying earlier about how Shirley was with us in the room. And I've heard people say that before, and I thought, and standing at the back there, looking at the room, observing whoever's speaking, there's absolutely no doubt it's very real. It's like each of us has a little Shirley chip embedded now, and you know, there does seem to be a Shirley energy here, which is really not surprising when you think of who she was and in fact is. Shirley had extraordinary pursuit of spirituality. I think you really felt that she was trying to find why we're all here. And often I've found that can distance people from everybody else. Like, you know, you're on your pursuit, not that. You're on your pursuit, and it can distance you from everybody else, but never have any of us, I'm sure, felt more present with a person than when Shirley was talking to us, being with us. It was quite overwhelming how interested she was, and it wasn't a show. She really was present with everybody when she was here and is present now. I do have one overriding writing in memory. I don't want to get Alan in trouble here, but this pursuit of spirituality and the immediate reality of life, which she had no trouble dealing with them at any time. You know, spiritual, real, yeah, you know, we can do that. We can do that. It's all the same. And the proof was in the early days of her relationship with Al. I remember she did her meditations, but Al's place at that time, Al, was a bit of a mess, and the only place she could find to do her daily meditation was Al's gun room. So she's sitting there meditating with the Uzi on the wall. Shirley could cope with this, no trouble at all. She was amazing, and I'm glad she is here, and I'm glad we're all here for her. And I can't believe how immediate this all feels. You know, hey, 5 years? You think, oh, yeah, no trouble, but a lot of trouble. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Rick. As I get older, when I'm gathering with my peers, we're all complaining about our memory losses. And as Rick mentioned about time, just this morning I was having breakfast with some friends, and we said, one was telling a story, and you know, it could have been 3 years ago, or 5 years ago, or 8 years ago. It all feels the same. And that's true, I think, as we're aging, for those of you who know what I'm talking about. But I think what Rick just mentioned is different. You know, this is a timeless kind of thing that we're talking about when we think about 5 years passing since Shirley's passing. But yet it's today. You know, it is timeless because it's part of the eternal now. And that's certainly something that brings us all together as well. When I was talking to Rick before I first came in, we were remembering meeting before. He said, Shirley's bringing us all together today, as she had before. And I said, hey, that was one of my lines when I was talking to the group. But isn't it true? We're here because of Shirley. And so yes, she is in the room. We're here because of Shirley. Not because she died 5 years ago, but because she lived for all those years before and has lived in these last 5 years in a different way with us. but we're here because she lived, and we celebrate her life. Who else would like to speak about her and your relationship? And even to think about how she has touched you in these last 5 years. When you listen for her with the ears of your heart, what have you heard? When you have looked for her with the eyes of your heart, what have you seen? It might be just a little thing. It might be like, oh, I saw a flower in the color purple. It just reminded me of Shirley. It could be something as simple as that. Something simple yet profound and beautiful. Birds.
We were in Florida a couple weeks ago, and there was a big crane just sitting there in the rain, randomly, and like used to seeing wildlife like that. Looking for gators. We saw a crane outside. Say hi.
Sometimes the scent of something, remember us of our loved one. And we also know that Shirley was quite a character. So, well, her friend before said she didn't want to mention some of the things that they did together. What are some of the funny stories about Shirley? Some of the things that you shared with her?
Hello everybody, my name is Aaron. My father's Al.
No, we didn't know that.
Didn't know that? This is a very tough moment for me because I'm in a few ways. Very few ways.
We don't know where you got that
I'm
from.
not, I never got that from my dad. But I'd like to share something with all of you. I learned a lot from Shirley. For the few years I've known her. Growing up, I felt I wasn't the same as every other child. I had trust issues. She came into my father's life, and I looked at her. Who was this lady? And I wasn't sure who she was. But little by little, she came to me, and she made me feel at ease, which I know that everybody felt that with her, talking to her. She's very calm. And she taught me how to trust people. Do not trust everybody. My father taught me, don't trust everybody, but I have to. I have to. It's the only way you can live life, to trust and appreciate everybody. If they do you harm, then you know these are the people that you don't want to associate yourself with. You always have to have an open heart. You can't lock yourself in. I know that she would want me to sit here and tell you that when I was growing up, me and my father, he told me things that I should not do. And not what I should do. That's what fathers are for. But I would always try to go the hard way around. I had to learn the hard way, the way I was. One day, she saw me and she was over my shoulder and I was going through my phone and she saw my motorcycles. And I told her, please, whatever you do, my father will kill me if he found out I rode motorcycles. She kept her promise, because the next day when I went there, everything seemed normal. He didn't kill me. And that day I looked at her in a different light. I really appreciate that from her. I'm indebted to her for life for that. And I always will have that peace with me forever. I never told anybody this. I've been holding this 5, 6 years, easy. But I love you, Dad. I love everything you do. I'm sorry. I don't want to be a coward and stand there. You know? I know she didn't want that from me. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody here. Thank you.
Should I start circling the room? No. I'm not trying to make anybody feel uncomfortable.
everyone. I am Janelle's mom. So I know Erica as long as herself and Janelle went to high school together and after high school. Now I happen to know Shirley as Erica's mom. She seemed to have been a very loving, doting, and protective mom. She was always there to ferry Erica back and forth from any after-school activities, including weekending with Janelle at our home in Brooklyn. Whenever Erica was there, our mother was right behind her. If Erica's mom said she's bringing Erica at 4 p.m. on Friday, look out, they're coming. If she says, I'm coming back for her at 6 p.m. on Sunday, she's there with the daughter sleeps. Very protective mom, you know, and Erica and Janelle got along quite well. And Erica was a very welcome member of our home. So we know Erica well. When Erica's mom, the birthday parties, yes. Erica's birthday is about the first week in September. And every year, for the 4 years I've known Erica, and even after that, Erica's mom had a birthday dinner for Erica. And that was a must for Janelle. She had to be there among the, I don't think it was a very big party, maybe 6 or 10 people at a restaurant. So again, I got to know Shirley through that annual birthday party dinner. And all the time I got to find out about Shirley, the type of doting mother she was at the graduation, the high school graduation, Bronx High School of Science. Erica, the plan was that the girls will come to our home and the limousine will come over there and all the girls will crowd into the limo. And the guys, I can't remember much about the guys. Maybe they had to come there too, something like that. Anyway, Erica's mom, having delivered Erica to our home, parked behind the limo. And there she waited until the limo left our home for the graduation reception hall. Do you know, she didn't go home? She drove behind that limousine. Then she parked outside the reception hall. I don't know how long she stayed. But that was the loving, protective, and doting mom. I don't think it was overdone, you know, because Erica turned out okay after all, right? You agree with me? Do you?
Yes.
And I'm glad that I ever did meet Shirley. She's a lovely lady. I'm blessed for having known her. Thank you, everybody.
I forgot to charge my phone, but I think I have a little bit of juice left to be able to read this to you. I am standing upon the seashore, a ship at my side, spreads her white sails to the moving breeze and starts for the blue ocean. She is an object of beauty and strength. I stand and watch her until, at length, she hangs like a speck of white cloud just where the sea and sky come to mingle with each other. Then someone at my side says, "There, she's gone." Gone where? Gone from my sight, that's all. She's just as large in mast, hull, and spar as she was when she left my side. And she is just as able to bear her load of living freight to her destined port. Her diminished size is in me, not in her. And just at the moment when someone says, "There, she's gone," there are other eyes watching her coming, and other voices ready to take up the glad shout, "Here she comes." Another piece of things that maybe we can reflect on today, that while we wish Shirley was here, really here in the room with us, physically present, we know that she lives, and that she had a reunion with all of those who went before her and who loved her, before all of us, or with all of us. And she is full. She is living life to the full. We're the ones that are diminished. We are the ones that have the clouds in our eyes. So again, we celebrate the life of Shirley today.
My name is Laura. I'm a good friend of Al's. Nice to meet his family. It's been a long time. First of all, when you first came up, you said your name was Carol, right? But you didn't tell us who you were.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. You did.
And there's a reason why I'm asking that. You did a beautiful thing today. I'm going, next month, August 21st, is a year since my mom passed. And I've been planning on doing a memorial. And I think it's just so beautiful what you did here today. I do catering, I do all kinds of parties. Unfortunately, I do good parties, bad parties. Now, Aaron, I'm like Aaron, I'm not one to get up and speak. But if you notice, I sat here all day and I just took in everything. And I watched everybody. And I said, you know, I couldn't do it at my mom's when my mom passed, but I did at my uncle's. And I'm not one to get up and speak in front of people, but as I said, your name is Carol, and I want to know who you are. Because you did a beautiful job.
Thank you.
My name is Laura.
You're right, I should have told a little bit about myself before we started. I guess because I had been with family and friends at Shirley's funeral service, and a little blessing that we had done a week or so before she died, I forgot about that.
No, that's okay. I'm not correcting you, but I want to know because I want to be recognized.
Oh, thank you. I'm just glad to be part of what's happening today. I met Shirley through our good friend, our mutual friend, Carol Shelhorn, who is also a nurse and worked with Shirley for many years and loved her. And when Shirley first became ill, Carol started to ask me and other friends who didn't know Shirley yet to pray for her. And so I started to do that, and I took that very seriously because I knew the friendship that Carol had with her, and I knew how much she loved her. And as she spoke about Shirley and told me things about Shirley, I felt like I had become, one of the many people who was loving Shirley from afar, hadn't met her yet, but was praying for her. And I think there's no closer bond than that when you're actually lifting someone up and asking for God and the God of your understanding to do the best thing that can happen. And so for many months, maybe, I don't know how long it was, but for a long time, I was praying for Shirley and getting to know her and feel connected to her through Carol. And then about maybe 2 weeks or 10 days or so, before Shirley passed. I was privileged to be asked to come to the house and do a blessing for Shirley and Al and for the family and friends that were gathered there that day. I have been, I'm a spiritual director and trained in pastoral ministry for my parish, and do retreat work, and it is a wonderful blessing to me, as well as hopefully some of the graces that go out to other people that I encounter. So, happy to be here again. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Very privileged to be part of this. Only got to know Shirley, physically for a very short time, but she has lived in my heart these last 5 years as well. And I was just thrilled when Erica contacted me a few weeks ago to ask me to be with you all today. So thank you all. But, okay, let me not let anyone else off the hook though. Is there anybody who still wants to say?
Well, you know what? You asked me if there's anything funny about Al. I gotta tell you a story. I'm in this little rowboat, right?
Al's hiding now.
And
Hold on a second.
I'm rowing, and all of a sudden I see this big boat come by. He rolled me over. You know what the name of the boat was? Shirley.
And here's Carol.
I'm Carol, and I work with Shirley at hospice, and Amy, and several other people. And coming here today is really given, I think, all of us the essence of who Shirley was. I'm certainly feeling it very deeply, and I do feel it every time I see you, talk to you, text, anything. She was quite extraordinary. Very, very patient, just like we started off out, kind, patient, compassionate, met everybody where they were, no expectations, unconditional love. And two of the statements she used to always say, que sera, sera, when, never would say anything bad about anybody. She was just so loving. So she would say, yeah, que sera, sera. And the other thing she would always say is to be continued. And that's what I feel like today, to be continued.
Hey, Sarah, Sarah. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Hey, Sarah, Sarah.
I think he can play that.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it's his turn.
She loved that song.
Shall we join him? Well, just in closing, I'll just ask you to take part in a little reflection. That your part is to say, we remember her, okay? In the rising of the sun and in its setting, we remember her. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember her. In the opening of buds and in the warmth of summer, we remember her. In the rustling of leaves and the beauty of autumn, we remember her. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember her. When we're weary and in need of strength, we remember her. When we're lost and sick at heart, we remember her. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember her. So long as we live, Shirley shall live, for she is now a part of us as we remember her. We remember her. Those whom we love and lose are no longer where they were before. They are now wherever we are. We remember her. So, as Carol mentioned a moment ago, in Shirley's words, to be continued.
Thank you very much. Let me close. close by saying, Liney, thank you, my sister, and my son right there. Does he look like me?
Yeah. Talks like you. He talks like you.
Aaron, you didn't get beat with the Irish short stick,
No,
though.
no. Again, let me say, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for coming, sharing this day with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Time for a drink?
God bless you.
Love you, buddy. God bless you.
It's all good, it's all good.